Hello everyone, welcome to IP Study video lectures. Today we will discuss grade 7 science chapter physical and chemical changes. In this chapter we will discuss various physical changes, chemical changes, rusting of iron and crystallization process. The concept of science is based on the changes taking place all around us. These changes takes us to the depth of different concepts and help us to find their reasons. Understanding these changes help us to understand various processes occurring in the surroundings, various phenomena happening in the day-to-day life. What if these changes are not happening? The life will be very monotonous. So, in this chapter we are going to study the classification of these changes. Everything in the universe goes under a change. If you observe various phenomena such as change of weather, change of day and night, rain, evaporation of water, condensation of water, earthquakes, if you notice the changes in you and your friends or the other people in your surrounding, they are also changing. Your friends are gaining height. At certain age, your voice is also changing. If you are playing with balloon and accidentally you prick it, it also changes its shape. When you take the water and keep it in the refrigerator, it changes from water to ice. This is also one kind of change. Curdling of milk. In this state, milk is changing from liquid state to solid state. So these kind of changes are happening in day-to-day life. Some changes can be very fast, some can be slow. Some changes are reversible, some are irreversible. Some are desirable, but other are undesirable changes. Some changes are periodic and non-periodic. So we will discuss the classification of these types of changes in this chapter. First of all, physical changes. What is physical change? If the physical properties of a material is changing, in that case the change is called the physical change. What are these physical properties? Properties such as shape, size, color, physical state. So we can say the appearance of a substance is changing during a physical change. Also, after the change, the original material remains same. No new substance is produced. For example, heating a piece of wax. Wax is a solid material. When you heat it up, it starts melting. So the state of wax is changing from solid to liquid. If you cool it down, again it can change into solid state. So what we can say, heating of wax is a physical change where the physical state of the wax is changing. Also, after reversing the process, we can retain the original substance, means we can again get the solid wax here. Next, take the example of ice. What happens when you take the water and keep it in refrigerator? It freezes and it changes into solid state. But as soon as you put the ice out of the fridge, again it starts melting and it takes back the liquid state. What happened to the bulb when it is switched on? Initially, if you touch the bulb, it is at the room temperature. But after switching it on for certain time, suppose for 10 to 15 minutes, and now if you switch it off and touch the bulb, you will feel that the surface of the bulb is now slightly hot or slightly warm because the bulb is going under a change here. So, as in these examples, only the state or appearance of the substance is changing. These will be considered as physical changes and no new substance is formed during these changes. Most of the physical changes are reversible changes, means we can reverse them to get the original substance. If I take ice in a bowl, I leave it on a tabletop at room temperature. So what will happen after some time? The ice will change into water, means water from its solid state is coming into liquid state. It has changed from solid to liquid state. So what is happening here? Only physical state of water is changed into solid to liquid. No new substance has formed. In form of ice, still it is water. When it is liquefied, still it is water. Only the state of the water was changed in this process. So, what is happening here? What is the condition? That whenever a physical change is occurring, only physical properties of the materials are changed. No new substance is formed during the process. So, we can take it with the help of another example. Heat a piece of wax. You will notice that wax is changing into liquid state. What is the original state of wax? It is solid. So, on cooling, you can get the wax again once it is changing from liquid to solid state. So, what is happening? First, we have wax, which is actually solid. When we heat it up, we add heat. This is the sign of heat. So, when we are heating, we are increasing the temperature. As already we have discussed this and learned this in the previous classes, that heating can cause the change of state of any matter. When we are heating a solid, it changes into liquid. So, what will happen when we heat up the wax? The wax will melt and we will have liquefied wax, melted wax, which is now a liquid state. So, what is happening here? We are changing the state of wax from solid to liquid. What if we cool it down? So, what will happen? It will be reversed. The temperature is now cooled down and the liquid wax will change back into solid wax. So, in this process, only the temperature of the material was changed to make the change of the state, but no new substance was formed during the process, whether it was cooling or heating. On cooling, it became a solid again, but the wax remained unchanged. The chemical composition of the wax is not changed. When you turn a switch on, the bulb glows. When you switch it off, it stops glowing. Is it happening that whenever you are switching on a bulb or switching it off, the bulb is changing into any other substance? No. The glass of the bulb remains same, the filament of the bulb remain same. But the filament does not undergo any change to form a new substance. Some more examples of physical changes are melting of ice, change of water to steam. What is that? Evaporation. These processes involve only a change in the state. Dissolving of salt or sugar in water, which we can get after evaporation process. Like if you dissolve sugar or salt in water, you will get the solution of sugar and salt. But if you heat up these solutions, the water will evaporate, it will change into water vapor, and what you will get? You will get the salt and sugar separated. So that's how we can say no new substance was formed during the process of dissolving, and you can get the sugar and salt, also the water separated. So the chemical properties remain the same during a physical change, only physical properties are changed. Some of the physical changes are explained here. Cutting or tearing of paper, which is a change in size. So understand through this activity, take a piece of paper, cut it into 4 rectangle pieces. For example, I have a sheet of paper, and if I cut it into 4 rectangle pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4. So what I am getting here? I am getting 4 small rectangles after cutting a big rectangular sheet of paper. What if I try to place these 4 papers again along each side? So what I will get? Maybe I will be able to fit this into the same shape or size, but I will not be able to join these all 4 pieces because it is now torn. So here I can say Tearing or cutting of paper is making the change in the size, but it cannot be reversed. So here I can say that some of the physical changes cannot be reversed. It was a quick change. I can tear the paper in a moment. I can cut this in a moment. It is a fast change, but it is not reversible. And what is changing here? Only the physical properties, means the size and shape of the paper is changed. Though I am maintaining the rectangle shape, but the size is changed. So, through this activity, we can conclude that a physical change can be reversible or irreversible. Like if you compare it with the example of melting of wax, we can change the liquefied wax back into solidified wax. But in case of tearing or cutting paper, we cannot get the same size of the paper again after placing it together. So, some of the physical changes can be reversible as well as some can be irreversible. Let's discuss another example. Change of chalk stick into chalk powder. Understand this activity here. Collect some chalk powder and crush some chalk sticks into powder and mix a little water to it to make a paste. So what is happening? First of all, I have a piece of chalk which is cylindrical. It has a certain shape, fixed shape. When I crush it, it doesn't have a fixed shape. So shape is changed, which is physical property. But if I add water to the powdered chalk and try to shape it again into cylindrical shape, I can get the same piece of chalk. So here I can say during this process, when I was crushing the chalk into powder, the shape of the chalk was changed. But after adding some water and shaping it again, I can get the same piece of chalk. So this change is slow change, it is reversible change, and only physical properties are changed. No new substance is produced yet. What is the case of ice? Change of ice into water and water into ice. These are changes of state of matter, which is state of water from solid to liquid and liquid to solid. Take some ice cubes from an ice tray from the refrigerator. Put them in a glass or plastic container. Keep them for some time at the room. So what will happen? The ice will melt and turn it into water. Now place this container into the refrigerator again. So what will happen when you place the water in refrigerator? After some time, it will freeze. So what is happening here? First we have ice. It is placed in a bowl at room temperature. Then we have water. But when we are putting it back into freezer, the water is changing into ice. So solid is changing into liquid, and then again liquid is changing into solid. Another example of change in the state is change of water into water vapor and water vapor into water. So what is happening here? In the previous activity, melting, ice was melting to water and the water was freezing into solid. In the other activity, what we are doing? We are taking water into a pan, placing it over the stove. So what is happening now? The water is absorbing heat from the stove and it starts heating up. When water starts heating up, it starts changing into water vapor. Here we have water vapor. If we place a lid over the water vapor, or we hold the lid over the water vapor for some time, we will get tiny water droplets here. Because water vapor is coming in contact with the cold plate and it is condensing it is releasing heat and changing into the liquid state. So what is happening here? First of all, we have water which is heated and then it is changed into vapor. So what are the states of material here? It is liquid and now here we have gas. What if we cool down the vapor? It will change into vapor to water, means from gas to liquid. So in the first case, we have evaporation, or we can say we have heating process, which is changing water into gas state. In the second case, we are cooling it down. So we have condensation here. So in this case, gas is changing into liquid. But in this change, only the state of water is changing. No other material is formed. So this change is a fast change. It is a desirable change. It is a reversible change. And the change is only happening in the physical properties. Let's take another activity here. Change in the color of a needle, which is the change in the appearance. So what we are doing here, take a knitted needle, the needles which are used to knit sweaters. These are usually made of iron. So hold it with the pair of tongs and keep the tip of the free end of the needle on the flame of a gas stove. So what we need here, we have a burner here which has flames to produce heat. Now we need to hold a needle, tip of the needle here in the flame. So what will happen? This needle will start absorbing the heat from the flame and it will start heating up. So it will start becoming red hot after a certain time. The color of the tip of the needle changes to red if you place it in the flame for some time. Now remove the needle from the flame. So what we are doing here? We are removing the flame. What will happen then? In this case, again, we will have the iron needle which will cool down and come back to its original color. So what is happening here? The appearance, the color of the needle was changed on heating. No new material was formed and the change was rapid, we can say fast change, and we wanted it to become red hot, so that was desirable change. In all these cases, there is change in the physical property of the material. What is happening in all those changes? Only the physical properties of the materials are changing. Means the color, the size, the shape or the state or the appearance is changed only. Some changes in which there is a change in physical properties of an object but no new substance is formed is called physical change. A physical change is generally reversible, but in some cases it can be irreversible. For example, cutting or tearing. Let's discuss chemical changes. What are chemical changes? Some changes alter the substance completely and form a new substance. What is this new substance? How it is different from the original substance? The chemical composition means arrangement of molecules, elements, atoms which are combining together is now changed. Let us perform some activities to understand chemical changes more clearly. So if we consider the previous example where we were discussing the change of color and the appearances, many of the chemical changes also show you some changes in the color or appearance. But the taste or the chemical composition will be completely different in case of chemical change. These are not same when a chemical change occurs. Let's discuss another activity here. To understand the changes when an iron object is dipped in copper sulfate solution. So what we are expecting here, either the copper sulfate will change or the iron will change or both will change. So take a beaker, put some crystals of copper sulfate, which is also known as blue vitriol, add some water in small quantity into the beaker and dissolve the crystals. Stir it with the help of a glass rod so that we can have the solution of copper sulfate only. No other chemical substance is interacting there. And what we will get here, that notice that the changes of the solution is blue. Take a fresh and clean piece of iron. Maybe you can take a hairpin, you can take a awl pin, you can take a needle or a blade and put it in the copper sulfate solution like this. So what we have? First we have a solution of copper sulfate which is blue. Now we need a blade. We will place it in the beaker. After leaving it for some time, you will notice that the color of the solution is changed from blue to green. That change can be considered physical because we already have discussed if the color of the material is changing, it can be physical change. But it is not a physical change in this case. Why? Because a new substance is already produced, and you can see, if you remove the blade from the beaker, you can see some brownish deposits over the blade also. What are these browny deposits? So, if you observe after some time, you will notice that the color of the solution has changed to green. Also, when you take out the piece of iron or the piece of blade, a brown substance is deposited on it. This is because iron sulfate, which is a completely new substance, is produced after the reaction between iron and the copper sulfate. So, here the sulfate is separated from copper and now it has combined to iron to form iron sulfate, and now copper is released. So, initially, before the reaction, before the change, we had a compound of copper sulfate and we had an element of iron. After the reaction, we have different compound which is iron sulfate and different element which is copper. So here we can see new chemical materials are produced. Since new substances are formed, it is a chemical change. Now take example of vinegar and baking soda. To understand the behavior of these materials, we will conduct another activity here. Take a test tube and put some vinegar in it. So what we are doing here? We are taking a test tube and we are having some vinegar in it. Okay, so here we have vinegar in it. Now close it with add some amount of baking soda. So what we are adding here? We are adding some baking soda and then we are placing a cork here to seal the test tube. What should happen here? What we will observe? You will hear a hissing sound. You will hear the sound of formation of a gas. And you will see some bubbles also because a gas is formed. So whenever a gas is formed in a chemical reaction, either you will hear some hissing sound or you will see some bubbles. So these are the two signs that a gas is formed during a change. If you bring a burning candle close to the open mouth, now what you need? You need to remove the cork and bring a candle or matchstick. So if you bring a matchstick with a flame, so what you will notice here? That either it will extinguish or it will continue to burn or it will produce a popping sound. Let's see what happened in this case. So if you bring a candle here, so what will happen? It will extinguish. So if a flame is extinguished when it comes in contact with a gas, that means that gas is carbon dioxide gas. Already we have discussed in chapter number 3 that whenever carbonates are reacting with other materials in the surrounding, they are producing carbon dioxide gas. So baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. It is releasing carbon dioxide gas which can be tested by using the burning candle or matchstick. So when you are bringing a burning matchstick here, carbon dioxide is escaping the test tube and extinguishing the flame. So what is the conclusion here? When vinegar and baking soda are added into a test tube, they react, they make a chemical change and they form a gas as a result. How can we check the gas is formed? Either you will hear the hissing sound or you will see the bubbles. How can you ensure that gas is carbon dioxide gas? Bring a candle or lighted matchstick. So after coming in contact with the gas, the flame will extinguish. So that supports that carbon dioxide gas is produced during the reaction, during the change. So as the change has formed a new chemical substance, this is a chemical change. Is it a desirable change? We can say if we want to produce carbon dioxide, we want to extinguish fire. If we do not want to extinguish flame, then we can say it is undesirable change. It's a fast or slow change. It is a fast change. As soon as you mix baking soda to vinegar, the hissing sound starts, the bubbles start forming, means the gas start producing. It's a quick change. Is it reversible? No, it is not reversible. As soon as you will open the, remove the cork from the test tube, the gas will escape into the atmosphere and you cannot get baking soda or vinegar again. So it is an irreversible change. Okay. One more test to find out whether the gas produced in the change was carbon dioxide gas. If you take lime water, what is lime water? Lime water is the solution of calcium carbonate in water. So what will happen when you will blow this carbon dioxide gas which is produced in the test tube where vinegar and baking soda are added? When this gas comes in contact with lime water, it changes this water to white color. It makes it milky white. What is the original color of the lime water? That is transparent. But as soon as it comes in contact with carbon dioxide, it becomes cloudy, it becomes milky because carbon dioxide is reacting with lime water. Another chemical substance is formed here. So we can say a chemical change is occurring, a chemical substance is formed which is completely a new substance based on the properties. Now take another example through the activity to understand the changes when magnesium strip is burnt in air. Take a strip of magnesium ribbon and clean the strip with the help of a sandpaper. We know magnesium is a metal and magnesium reacts with the moist air. That's why sometimes you may see some deposits on it. And when you are using it, you need to clean it using a sandpaper so that you can remove any deposit from the magnesium strip. Now put the magnesium strip, clean magnesium strip over the flame with the help of a tongue. So what you will notice, the strip start burning with a dazzling light. It produces a very bright light and dense white fumes. The white fumes on cooling forms the powdery ash which is magnesium oxide. So what is happening here? Magnesium, which is solid, is reacting in presence of oxygen when we are burning it, because we already know that oxygen is required for producing flame. And it is forming a new chemical substance, magnesium oxide. So if you notice here, initially the reagent is solid and a gas, and the product is solid again. So we can say you might see some changes in the physical appearances, but the major change that you will notice here is the substance which is produced after the process, after this change, is not same as the materials which are used for the process earlier, which are magnesium and oxygen. So chemical properties of chemical composition of the material is now completely changed. So here you can see in the diagram that when magnesium ribbon is held in a tongue and placed in the flame, it produces very bright white light. Also, it produces the white fume which can be cooled down to form a white powdery substance. This powdery substance is magnesium oxide, which is not same as the magnesium or the oxygen in its properties. So we can conclude that burning is an irreversible change. We cannot change it back into oxygen and magnesium. When something burns, you will see smoke, flames. The flames are hot and left with a powder that is called the ash. Ash is completely new substance and we cannot turn it back into the magnesium strip. When substances burn, they use up oxygen gas. Oxygen from the atmosphere is used up during burning processes and form a new chemical called oxide. So whenever oxygen is reacting with any substance and burning is happening, oxide of that substance is formed. So here we can say a new material is formed. So in this case, we can say the change happened here is a chemical change. In this case, a new substance, magnesium oxide, is formed and its properties are different from the magnesium, which is the original substance. Since new substance are formed, it is a chemical change and reversible change. If we dissolve this ash into water, what will happen? Another substance will be formed. One more chemical change will occur. So what will happen? When oxides are reacting with water, these are forming hydroxides. Completely new substance. Earlier we had metal, magnesium. After burning, we had new substance called magnesium oxide. When we dissolved it, we have another new substance called magnesium hydroxide. So that's how through different changes we had different materials, different products as a result of change in the chemical composition, chemical properties. So we can say these all changes from burning of magnesium to dissolving the ash of magnesium in water, these are all chemical changes. Here we need to be very careful. When we are conducting this experiment, do not look directly on the flame. Use the safety eye gears, and because it can cause temporary damage of the vision, and make sure you are holding the ribbon using a tongue. You are not directly holding the ribbon and then placing it in the flame, because you may burn, and you are not inhaling the fumes of the magnesium oxide. So what we need to do here? Keep it away from the body, maintain some distance from the flame. Also hold the magnesium using the tongue and do not look at on the flame directly. In all these cases, there is a change in the physical property of the substance, but one or more new substance is also produced. How can we say that physical properties are changed here? Because when you are burning, some heat is produced, some state of the material is changed, some materials are changing into gaseous state like the fume, some may change into the liquid form when you are dissolving it, but the chemical composition is completely changed. A new material is formed at every stage. So these will be considered the chemical changes. So also but one or more new substances have also been formed which are totally different from original substance. That is the important thing. In a physical change, no new substance is formed, but in a chemical change, completely new substance is formed. Such changes in which a new substance is formed with different properties are called chemical changes. Most of the chemical changes are irreversible. But when we learned about the physical changes, we found that most of the physical changes are reversible, except few cases, for example tearing, where we cannot get the same shape or size of the material. But in case of chemical changes are irreversible. We cannot get the original substance. In all the above cases, we have noticed that the following changes have taken place during a chemical changes. What are these changes? either light or heat is produced or it is absorbed. For example, when you are burning a ribbon, first of all, ribbon is absorbing the heat, and then when it is producing the dazzling light, it is releasing the heat into the atmosphere. Change in the color. Production of sound. Sometimes a popping sound or the hissing sound will be produced. Formation of a gas. Change in the smell. The fumes of the magnesium will have a distinguished odor or the smell, and the gas also will give you sometimes a distinguished smell. So these changes can be observed during a chemical change. Another application of chemical changes here is rusting of iron, which is happening in the nature. What is rusting? If you notice iron objects such as an iron bench in your park or garden, what happens to the iron bench if it is left in the open area for certain time? Or if you take an example of iron rod, simple rod, if you leave it outside in the open area and you notice these objects which are made of iron, after some time you will see some red-brown deposits on them. These red-brown deposits are rust, and it has appeared there by a process called rusting. So what is rusting? Rusting is a chemical change where iron is reacting with the oxygen and the water content present in the atmosphere. We already know that oxygen and water vapor are components of the air. These are readily available in the atmosphere. So iron objects react with these substances in the air, which is oxygen and water vapor, and they form a new chemical substance called iron oxide, which is also known as rust. So if you observe this chemical reaction here, iron is combining with oxygen and water and forming a completely new substance. It does not share the same properties as iron, which is the original substance there, original material, or the oxygen or the water. Rust can be prevented by practicing certain processes. Why we need to prevent this? Because it is degrading useful objects. We have placed an iron bench in the park so that we can use it, but after some time it gets rusted, so it starts degrading. For preventing this, we need to practice certain methods here, such as coating with oil and grease. If we apply a layer of grease or oil over iron objects, so what we are doing? We are creating a barrier between the iron object and the materials which are reacting here, such as oxygen and water. So by making this barrier, we avoid the contact of these materials with each other, and the rusting can be avoided here. One more method that we can use here is coating with paint. Again, we are creating a barrier here by making a layer of paint. Coating with other metal. We can use a method called electroplating, where electric current is used to coat or to make a layer of another metal which is less reactive over the iron. So this can be done by galvanization, where zinc is coated over the iron object, or it can be done by chrome plating, where chromium is plated over the iron objects, or tinning, where tin metal is coated over the iron object. So we can say zinc, the chromium and tin. These are less reactive metals. They do not react with the air, or they do not react with the oxygen and water in the air, and these can be coated over the iron object to prevent rusting. One more method is alloying, where different metals are combined in a mixture and another substance is formed which is called an alloy. Alloy often has different properties than the original metal there. So if you take the example of steel. Steel is an alloy of iron with other materials. So making alloy also prevent rusting. Another interesting process that we need to discuss here is crystallization. What is crystallization? Crystallization is a method of forming crystals of a compound. How this is done? This is done by preparing a saturated solution of a substance. Now understand what is saturated solution. To make a saturated solution, we need to dissolve a substance in a solvent, which is commonly water, and at the certain temperature where we cannot add more substance to the water. We can understand this through this activity to obtain crystals of copper sulfate. In this activity, we will take a beaker where we will take some water and dissolve some copper sulfate, and we will start dissolving it at the room temperature. You will get a point where you cannot add more copper sulfate in this water. So what we will do here, we will heat up the water slightly, and then we will notice that more amount of copper sulfate can be added now at this slightly higher temperature. So what we understand here, that by increasing the temperature of water or the solvent, we can add more solute here. Now, if you leave it at room temperature, you will get the saturated solution of this, because no more solute can be added at this point. Now, how can you get the crystals here? For this, you need to transfer the solution into a china dish and heat it over the burner. In this process, the water from the solution will evaporate and only the crystal of copper sulfate will be left behind on the china dish. The crystals are cooled down. You can see the blue color crystals are formed there, which are made up of pure copper sulfate, and water is now removed by the heating process from this solution of copper sulfate. That's how we can get the crystals of any substance by preparing the saturated solution of a substance. So in this chapter, we learned various changes and classified them as physical and chemical changes. Also, we understood that some of the changes can be reversed, but some cannot be reversed. Some changes can occur at slow rate, and some can occur at very fast rate. And some changes are useful, so we call them desirable, and other changes cannot be useful for us, so these are undesirable changes. That's it for the day. We will see you with another topic in the next session. Thank you.